Hello, welcome back to A Sim Racing Experience. My name's Jose, I'm a sim racer here in Miami, Florida, and I just wanted to go through 5 pros and cons of sim racing that I have found throughout the years. So I'll go ahead and start off with the pros, and I think one of the biggest ones for me is the convenience factor. I used to go a lot to indoor karting places, and while yeah, they're in the same city, they're kind of far, and if you know anything about Miami traffic, it's pretty insane at every single hour, so it's very convenient to just be able to get out of my bedroom and come here into the office where I have everything set up and the rig is just right behind me. Another big one is safety. There's a massive risk when you get out on track onto a real track, and I've talked about it in another video of mine where if you have any kind of a fear on track, it's a dangerous situation for you to be on track. So being able to take this whole safety factor out of it, I think it's hugely beneficial for a lot of people that have wanted to get into it and have had fear of getting out on track, because the fear is real. I mean, there's a lot of stuff happening at once. There's a lot of sensations and noises happening all at once. I remember the first time I went out onto a track with a shifter cart, the first 2 or 3 laps, there was so much vibration and there was so much torque and power and just the jerk of the shifting. It was a sensation that I had never been used to being in control of. So it took me a good 2 to 3 laps until my body started getting comfortable with it, and I just started picking up more and more speed and being able to jump into the simulator and not have to worry about whether you're going to wreck or whether you're going to hurt yourself. There's no need to worry about that. You can just jump in, do what you want to do, and get out and get back to your life without even involving any kind of risk in your life. And talking about actual racing, one of the kind of pros and cons of this whole sim racing world is the cost. On the pro side, it's significantly less for you to get a sim rig and do all of your racing at home. You don't have to pay racing fees, you don't have to pay maintenance, you don't have to pay for the car, and you certainly don't have to pay for all the upkeep that comes with keeping a race car. For literally starting off with just a few $100, you can get a nice wheel and pedal set, and with probably a TV that you already have at home and a console. I started out with a PS3, so you can really and truly get to driving a simulator with minimal cost, which we know this can get expensive, so it's always good to have a less expensive option for even if you're just trying to get into it, or even if you're a seasoned pro at sim racing. I've heard that a lot of the best sim racing drivers are out there just using the Logitech G920 and the T300 Thrustmaster. So it's true what they say. It's not about the gear. And to back up what I've done here, the reason I have all the gear I have and the reason that I've built the rig that I have is because I don't really go out. I spend a lot of time here. I spend a lot of time here in the office working on my business. So this was the decision that I made, and it's what I enjoy most, and it's the reason that I've decided to kind of put that additional income that I have and put it to something that gives me that amount of joy. And joy is a wonderful thing. The amount of mental stimulation that I've gotten out of sim racing has really taken me back to feelings I have felt when I was growing up as a little kid. When I was 5 years old, I got into karting. My father had been into karting for 10, 15 years prior to that, so all I knew was karting. All I knew was motorsports and race car driving. So the amount of mental stimulation I have to be able to go back to that time in my life and be able to just sit here, feel that whenever I want, it's invaluable. It truly is an amazing experience. My favorite thing so far has been able to connect with other people. And I was doing a lot of driving just against AI, and I never thought I would get into competitive racing with other people online. I was never into online gaming. The only time I really played online was Call of Duty back in high school, and that was just between friends. And it was never in my mind to get on a platform where I would connect with people and race with the same people almost every single night. So that's been really cool. The idea that this whole rig, obviously it's been an investment and it's taken a lot of time to put together, but now it's not just a rig. It's giving me an opportunity to tell stories of my past and stories of where I came from and how I grew up, and stories that lead to where I'm at now and where this rig has come from. And why I've built this rig. It's an amazing experience for me to share that with other people. I'm a pretty introverted guy, so for some reason it's interesting how being on YouTube and being on an online platform, I now have this desire to connect with other people. Just, I guess, because I have found something that I remembered I was so incredibly passionate about. Not only am I incredibly passionate about photography and video and food, as you can see in the background, racing was my first love. And being able to talk to people about that now and being able to have the platforms to do that, this has been an incredible feeling and an incredible experience. And I'll say it time and time again, I'm extremely excited to share this with as many people as possible. So with all the good, of course, we have to talk a little bit about the bad. And going back to cost, yes, this can still get extremely expensive. You can essentially spend just about as much on a race car or on the sim. You can really, the sky's the limit. The sky's the limit with what you can do with setups and rigs and the amount of gear you can add to it. I think it's all about what you want to do and kind of what you want to achieve with sim racing that's going to dictate what your budget's going to be when it comes to building a rig. One thing that everybody deals with, and it's going to be a continuing thing, I'm hoping to see a bit of a difference once I get up to higher levels and higher licenses, but it's dealing with different experience levels. A lot of times you can be on track with people with different levels of, a lot of times you can be on track with people on different license levels, and you could deal with a lot of people that don't necessarily have the right experience to be on track. They definitely need to be on a more private practice type of a session so that they can really figure out what they're doing. Because what happens is that you end up ruining the entire experience for somebody or for the entire field if you're out there and causing wrecks and doing other things. Remember that specifically with iRacing, people are paying money to do this, and every wreck, every off track, every unsafe situation that you're in is essentially going to cost you money because it's just going to delay you getting further and further in the licenses. And if you're out there just for fun, then cool, fine. But I try to make a big deal to be extremely respectful. And if there's people trying to get around you, if they're clearly faster than you, sure, if you're in the middle of a race, don't just give up position, but be respectful, know what's going on around you, know that at this point, if you're just starting or whatever, I know I'm going to be the first one to admit I am not one of the best drivers in the world, and I'm not claiming to be, but it is something that I take very seriously, and it's something that I try to hone my craft on every single day. So it's something that is very, very serious to me and has always been since I was little. So dealing with some inexperienced drivers, again, it's something that is going to happen probably the entire time you're on a platform like this, but it's something else that you'll learn, and it's something else that you'll learn to deal with, and it could be hugely beneficial to you in other facets of your life. One of the more annoying cons of this entire thing is hardware inconsistency, and I think we've all been there, we've all experienced it, and that's one thing that I'll say. When you're getting into sim racing, there's a lot of programs going on in the background, and there's probably a lot of telemetry going on. So just be aware that things could potentially go wrong. And I used to be the one that would get extremely frustrated and want to blame the computer and want to blame life and want to blame the world and want to blame everything for my PC not working properly. I don't know if it's because so much time has gone by since I started doing this and I've learned, I guess, a little bit more about PCs and matured a little bit probably. But just realize that things could go wrong, and if you're one of those that tends to get frustrated, try not to. And these next two, I think they go together. And it's something that I have always dealt with, and I would imagine a lot of other people deal with it. So I'll just kind of give my opinion on that. And it's just the pressure to do better and dealing with negativity. So in a competitive world, you're always going to want to do better than the next person. And you're probably going to put pressure on yourself to try to do better. And what I've learned in the last 3 or 4 years of getting more and more serious into sim racing, I've learned that I'm probably on track with other people that have probably much more time on the sim than I have, probably have more experience than I have, and eventually I'll get to that level. I have to put in the laps and I have to put in the time in the races in order to get to that level. So I've been able to ease back on the pressure I used to put on myself to be better and be better and be better, because what happens is that you put too much pressure, you start cracking under that pressure, and it just becomes, again, another snowball effect of situations that probably don't end very well, and you just get frustrated, and it could lead to just completely giving up on sim racing, and that could go for a million different things. I mean, it doesn't need to apply to this. It's a pretty universal thing. Try to ease back on the pressure, and that has helped me significantly. Just been able to get on track, realize what I'm doing, realize my skill level, accept my skill level, and just get out there and work on being safe and being consistent. And then the negativity issue is, if you start messing up, people are not going to hesitate to tell you in the chat. And I think more so for younger people, there's just a lot of negativity and a lot of just trash talking on there. And it's just another one of those things that you're going to have to deal with. And it's another one of those things that just realize it's just people letting out emotions, and it's nothing really against you, and it's nothing really of any value. It's just, okay. And if you messed up, hey, it's cool to, sorry. I had a guy give me an entire lecture on how I need to use my brakes, and it's okay to say sorry. I apologized. You just let it go, I guess. So that's pretty much the pros and cons of what I've learned throughout the years of sim racing and getting more and more involved with the whole sim racing world. So if you like this video, I would really appreciate it if you hit like. And if you'd like to see more of this content, please hit subscribe, and I will see you again in the next one. See you later.